Okay, if anybody's there, say hello. Let me get this camera adjusted so you can see the stovetop. Okay, can y'all see my stovetop? Say hello. Oops. Let me get this camera adjusted so you can see. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't realize I had YouTube open on another channel, but if anybody's there, say hello. Hi. Hi, Patty. Hi, Deborah. And Selena, how are you? Okay, so what I'm doing, let me readjust here. I kind of cockeyed it. Now, when I start my blender, it might get a little hard for y'all to hear, so if it does, I apologize. I'm going to do the best I can to keep up with any questions you have, but what I'm making tonight is Italian Swiss meringue buttercream. You won't be able to, I mean, not Swiss meringue, Italian meringue buttercream. You probably won't be able to see much of me. Hi, Babsy. Hi, Patty. Hi, Layla. Hi, Vicky. Babsy, can you send me your address again? Email it to me. I couldn't find it to JewelryNurse1@gmail so I can get that stuff out. I had it ready to go and then realized I didn't have your address today. But anyways, I apologize for the noise my blender is going to make when I start that. But what you need, I tried to give you a little advance warning, but what you need to start with is 8 eggs separated. You just need the egg whites, and if you can cool those to room temperature, that's the best way when you're doing a meringue. Always have them at room temperature. And if you need to do that fast, just put your eggs into a just like a pot of warm water from the tap to cool them down quicker. And then you'll need 400 grams of sugar, just granulated sugar, and I think that's about an equivalent of 2 cups of sugar. You'll need a pound of butter. That's 4 sticks. I cube it like this. I just take the 4 sticks and I cut it into quarters, so I have that ready. And you want that at room temperature. You don't want it super, super smushy. And I've cleaned my hands, guys, just before we started, but you want to be able to dent it a little like that. You don't want it really hard, and you don't want it smushy. Just room temperature is good. I usually will get my stuff out in the morning when I'm getting ready to do this. And then you'll need a teaspoon of vanilla, and I always use like a really concentrated, usually I use Mexican vanilla, and this is a cold pressed vanilla, and it has a really good flavor, so I highly recommend Mexican vanilla. Usually you can order it online for much cheaper than you can get it in a grocery store anyway. And I am making this because I'm doing a half sheet chocolate cake. So I have like 4 of these that I have to make it for. So I'll probably be making 2 more batches after I finish this with you guys tonight. And then I have my egg yolks in the bowl, and then I have a half a cup of water, and the 400 grams of sugar are in this pan. Let me see. Does anybody have any questions so far? Hi, Maria. Hi. Anybody I miss? Hi, Jill. How are you? Wow, that was kind of impromptu. So I am really happy that so many of you joined me, that I didn't get the notice out quick enough. Okay, so, and then you'll need either a pinch of salt or I use about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and that helps break up your egg yolks, your egg whites a little. It'll also help stabilize your eggs, so it's always good to put a little bit whenever you're doing a meringue. So I'm just going to throw that in the egg whites, and I'm just going to break them up a little bit. You will need a high-speed mixer pretty much for this. You can do it with just a regular handheld, but you're going to be there a while. So I need also for this, you'll need the wire whisk, and you'll need the paddle. The paddle you'll use when you start incorporating the butter. And then for chocolate, I'm not doing this chocolate, but the chocolate that I use when I make a chocolate cake is also, usually I use Mexican chocolate too. And I get it from Restaurant Depot. Like this whole bag is like less than $13. And it is it's 2.2 pounds. No, wait a minute. It's a kilogram. Yeah, 2.2 pounds. So it's a pretty good price at Restaurant Depot for chocolate. The Mexican chocolate is really, really rich. So you don't need any other kind of chocolate when you use that. So I try and stick with that. Let's see. I think I've got everything. So I'll recap real quick. It's a pound of butter cubed. 8 eggs separated at room temp, just the egg whites. It's a half a cup of water and 400 grams or 2 cups of sugar. And I've got that in a pot. I'm going to bring it to a boil, but I'm not going to do it really quickly. I'm going to start off about 4 on my oven. I've got a thermometer, and I'm going to let that come to a boil. I did start the boil. Don't stir it or anything. Just let it boil. The temperature I'm looking for is 230 degrees, so I'm going to just let that boil. And when that gets to 230 degrees, then we'll start the next step. But until then, till that boils, I'm going to look at the chat, see how everybody's doing. Sorry about the weird angle. I didn't know how else to set it so you could see. Can you guys see my stovetop and my mixer pretty well? Hi, Velvet. Hi, Elaine. Hi, Selena. Hi, San Juana. Hi, Granny Josie. How are you? So I used to make a lot of cakes, and I've kind of backed off a little bit because I've been doing the jewelry more, and there's only so many hours in the day. I still do them once in a while. This one is, hi, Susan. How are you? I mailed out your package today, Susan. I sent you a tracking. Finally, it took me a while to get that one mailed out, so I apologize, but it is on its way. But this actually tastes so much better than American buttercream, and it's not as heavy and as sweet. You can make it sweeter if you want, but it is not super sweet. It has the texture of more like a heavy whipped cream that they use at a grocery store when you get, the texture's kind of like that, but only thicker and fluffier. So you can decorate with this too. You can do anything with this that you can do with regular American buttercream. And once you've tried this, you definitely won't want to go back to American buttercream. No, no missed. You made it. You're worried about what, Susan? Oh, you're not worried about it. Okay. For a minute, I thought you said you were worried about something. Sorry. Okay. This is starting to melt and boil. One thing you definitely want to make sure of is that you don't burn your sugar, because then it's not good eats, and it'll recrystallize once you put it in the bowl. It'll sort of recrystallize when you add it to the egg whites. And let me see, any other hints I can give you guys about making this? Oh, it's really important that you make sure that your utensils don't have any like oil or grease or anything greasy on them, because it will break down your egg white. So be really careful about that. It's like making, same sort of precautions that you want to take when you're making like a royal frosting with egg whites, because they do break down really easy with oil in them. Which sounds funny when I'm putting butter in there, but by the time I put the butter, the mixture's already stabilized. So, hi, Rebecca. How are you? Thank you for coming. So while I'm waiting for this to boil, I'll kind of recap, show you last night on my live yesterday. The highlights of that, these 3 rings that I found in there, They say peace, love, and faith. They did turn out to all three be, after I cleaned them up, I found it. It was kind of like in that part of the ring, but they are all 3,925. So that was a pretty good score. This one has a little cross on the side right here, the one that says peace. But they do look really cute together, stacking. So those turned out, I wasn't really sure. They look like silver, but I couldn't find a mark. And this, the cross with the emerald, that did turn out to be 10K, and the chain is 10K, and there is an emerald there. It's not a very big one, and then a little tiny like diamond chip up in there, which tested positive, but that was pretty good. It's a small cross. It's maybe from the top of the bell to the bottom, maybe just over a half an inch, so it's not real big. And then this other cross, this one turned out also to be 10 karat. And the shell that I thought was possibly vermeil turned out to be solid 14 karat. I think it is artisan made. It kind of looks like on the center. So the jar that I thought was probably not going to be so good probably actually did turn out to be pretty good. And these earrings, I couldn't find a mark on them. I actually love these, you know me and my rhinestones. They turned out to be, there was a marking on the back of one earring and not the other. And of course, that's the one I looked at. Turned out to be from a company called Blythe and Blythe. And when I looked it up, that actually has a pretty good resale value. So pretty happy about that. Okay, so my frosting is starting to boil. Frosting, my sugar and water mixture is starting to boil. I'm at about 225 degrees. When it gets to 230, I'm going to turn on the mixer and let the egg whites start whipping. And when you do a meringue, you don't really want to just turn on your mixer high and just let it go. You want to build it. So you want to start slow and work your way up to high when you do a meringue. My teacher always says, you don't whip it, you build it. You build a meringue. So, yeah, it drives me crazy with that. Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. It was a pretty good jar after all. Oh, and then that Harley-Davidson bracelet, that turned out to be pretty special too. Sorry about that. It was right underneath the edge of my thing. This turned out to be vintage. You can barely see it, but it says Harley-Davidson right there. And all of the pieces on it, or all the metal pieces, they're all sterling. And it has, I haven't looked these up yet, but it actually has 3 silver marks right there. And I'm giving this to my brother-in-law because he does leather work and he is a huge Harley-Davidson collector. So I'm going to send that to him. But I was pretty surprised at how much these things go for on the net. Okay, I'm starting to boil now. I'm at 237. I have it up a little too high, so I'm going to go ahead and start whipping. It's going to get noisy. I apologize. If you don't have a thermometer, you can pretty much just kind of judge it by the time it comes to a boil and all the sugar has completely melted. It's pretty much at 230, which is where it's at now. It's starting to boil, so I'm going to kick it up to about 4.5 now on my stove. Sorry about that, guys. Anybody have any questions so far? Yeah, I don't know what I would do without my KitchenAid. Hi, Cindy Lovin. How are you? Cindy, you missed all of the ingredients. Right now, all I'm doing is bringing the sugar and water to a boil and bringing that to 240 degrees. And I'm whipping some egg whites. So yeah, at 230 you start your mixer, and then by the time your egg whites are whipped, you'll be at 240 on the thermometer for the sugar. You want to take it up to 240, and that helps pasteurize your eggs too when you put the hot liquid in. I'll stop it when it gets to where the consistency I want it and show you what it looks like when you want to start adding your sugar. Okay, I'm going for pretty much, I want kind of hard peaks like that. And my sugar is ready, so I'm going to start slowly pouring it in, and you're going to pour it down the side of the bowl. Don't pour it like directly into the whip or anything. You get splattered, but it's best to pour it down. It cools down the sugar a little bit. So I'm going to pour it right down the side of the bowl, basically. And I'm at like 237. So I'm going to go ahead and start because that's close enough. So sorry about the noise again, like I said, but going to get noisy. Okay, I'm going to bring it back up to high speed. Okay, so now I'm just going to let it whip until the bowl pulls off. Usually I speed that up by taking a couple of bags of ice and putting it up under the bowl. So I have a couple of bags of ice. Any questions so far? Uh-oh, you reversed the amount of shortening and peanut butter. How did that turn out for you? Bye, Babsy. Sorry if the noise is too much. We're almost done here. Yay, bye, Rebecca. Yes, you probably could make it sugar-free. I'd have to think about that and figure out a substitute for that. I know you can do it without eggs. You can use protein powder to substitute the egg. We're almost there. You want to cool it as much as you can, because if you put the butter in and the liquid is too hot, it's going to take a long time for it to whip back up to the right consistency. Ah, peanut butter fudge, yes. Fudge is not easy to make. I have a friend who makes the best fudge in the world. She sells it online. Yeah, using real fruits in desserts like baked type goods adds too much moisture. Ah, I like those too, Granny Josie. Okay, so you'll see it like almost triples in volume. And now I'm going to take out the whip and I'm going to add in the paddle. And you can see how fluffy it got and how thick. Yeah, it's cooled down enough to do this. It might take a couple of minutes extra to whip it back up once I get the butter in, but I'm going to go ahead and this process, actually pulling this out, kind of helps cool it down a little too. But you can see how thick it is. I will, if y'all are interested, and it'll be a whole lot less noise than this, go over how to make a cake from scratch. I do all of my cakes from scratch. I also do hybrid cakes when I want to do like a fruit type cake, like strawberry or something. I make a hybrid, and I'll show you. I can do that if y'all are interested. I'll show you how to do my chocolate cake. You'll be surprised how easy it really is. You'll wonder, why am I using a box? It tastes so much better. Okay, so I'm going to add the paddle in now, and now we're going to just start adding the butter in. When you add in the butter, this is where a lot of people think that they mess it up, but they just give up too soon. When you add the butter in, especially if your butter is really soft, it'll start to break down and it'll get almost soupy. But if you hang in there, keep adding your butter and whip it at a high speed, it will come back. It'll come to like, it'll start to thicken and it'll sort of like curd up. And then if you just keep whipping it, it'll smooth out. Yeah, the first time I did this, I did the same thing. I thought I had messed it up and I threw it out. And then I later found out if I'd have just kept whipping, I would have been fine. Okay, so paddle goes in. Probably gonna need my my little spout here because it might start spitting at me. So I'm just gonna start adding in the chunks of butter, one at a time. Make sure you cover it with a towel or something if you don't have this cover, because the butter will start slopping it around. I usually do this on about medium high when I put the butter back in or in. See, that's why you want to slow it down when you put the butter in. I just mostly breaking up the butter before I throw in another chunk. Once I get all of the butter in, then I'll pick it up. So it's almost like a soupy consistency now. I'll stop it and show you. Usually I stop and clean off the sides of the bowl at some point anyway to make sure I've got all of that. It's almost like the process of making marshmallow. If you've ever made marshmallows, that's kind of the consistency you're going for before you put the butter in. So it will literally get that soupy. I don't know if you can see how soupy it is, but that's normal. If that happens, don't panic. I am getting messy. I'm going to kick it up here in a second. Okay, I'm going to kick it up to high, and I'll stop it and show you when it starts to get at that chunky stage. Okay, so now it's starting to get chunky. Yeah. So let me get a spoon. Maybe that'll help you see it a little better. So when you see it start to get chunky looking like that, then you know you're on the right track and it's just about to do its thing. I am kind of making a mess tonight, guys. Sorry. Okay, just a couple of more minutes and it will be completely whipped. And once you get it completely whipped, it chunks up and smooths back out. Then you can add your flavoring if you want vanilla or whatever flavor you want. Just add any flavoring. You can also add like peanut butter or different things into it if you want to make flavored frostings. There's you know, it's pretty versatile. You can do a lot with it. And it also holds up to warm weather. You know how frosting, like if you're on a picnic or something and you've got whipped cream frosting, it'll melt. This holds up a little bit better. Of course, you can't put it in like super heat, but it does hold up pretty well in the heat. And this frosting will last a couple of weeks in the refrigerator. And it'll last a couple of months in the freezer. You can freeze it or refrigerate it. Just when you take it out of the fridge, let it get back to room temp before you re-whip it. Otherwise, it takes a long time to re-whip it. If you whip it frozen, it completely separates before it starts whipping again, but it can be re-whipped. Okay, so noise again. Sorry. As soon as this whips up and I turn this off, then I'll start. I'll read you guys' comments and see if anybody has any questions. Okay, almost there. Looking for a clean towel, sorry. Almost. Got another 20 seconds. You definitely want to make sure you whip it long enough, because the longer you whip it, the more you get rid of that like super buttery taste. The butter starts to work its way in, and it doesn't taste like butter. If you stop whipping too soon, you pretty much taste the butter. So this is the consistency, and now all I have to do is add in So it's amazing that you can do that, isn't it? It still amazes me. Yeah, this is, once you taste this, like I said, see how thick that is? You can pipe with it. When I'm going to pipe with it, I whip it a little slower. I try not to put as much air in it when I'm going to pipe. like something really intricate. I can pipe borders and stuff, but that doesn't matter. But what I'm doing now, I don't have to pipe anything. I'm just frosting. And I will just post a picture on my channel of the cake after I put it together. It's not going to be fancy. It's just going to be just ice, no decorations this time. So anybody have any questions before I turn it back on and add the vanilla? But that's pretty much all there is to it. It really isn't that difficult. I love peanut butter too, Carmen. I have made this peanut butter too flavor. I also make a filling for the middle with peanut butter. I usually get the fresh ground peanut butter, and it is so good. It's the same kind of a filling that I use to make peanut butter eggs, like at Easter time. So try it, guys. Like get brave and try it. I mean, it's a pound of butter is what, like $4, maybe less at Walmart, and 2 cups of sugar is pennies. And 8 eggs is not that. So it's really not that expensive to make. And you don't have all that lard. And it's a lot less sugar than you use in American buttercream. And it tastes so much better. And I still have to make another batch and a half of this tonight, so I can finish this cake. It's a big half sheet cake. It's 3 layers, so it's going to take a lot of filling and icing. Okay, so I'm going to turn it back on and make a little bit more noise. It really doesn't, this frosting holds flavor really well, so you don't really have to put a lot of flavoring in there. And I mostly use real vanilla when I do it, the Mexican vanilla, and it is pretty concentrated, so you don't have to use as much. If I were using a store-bought vanilla, I would probably be using 2 teaspoons instead of 1, but I just slowly add that in. Okay, that's it, guys. I wish you could taste this. I wish I could mail you some with your jewelry. It is so good. Yeah, it's good enough that you can eat it without the cake. I mean, it's not so overly sweet. But give it a try. Anybody who tries it, let me know how it worked out for you. Good night, Rebecca. I'm going to pick this up now so I can see. Okay, so did I miss any questions? I'm all done with the frosting now. Like I said, I'll post a picture of the cake, and sorry how I look. I have been running around. I actually went thrifting today, and I found a bag by accident. So I'll be doing a video with that bag. I went to CHKD this morning. They were supposed to have bags. Well, I went around 2. They were supposed to have bags, and I get there and find out that the girl that had told me that gave me some erroneous information that they don't have them every Monday. They just put them out occasionally whenever. But anyways, it was 25% off day, so I bought a bunch of sterling And then I dropped some stuff at the post office. And when I was there, I was looking at my phone to see if there were any other thrift stores in the area to try and find a jar. And when I was looking at my phone, I had brought some stuff up and I realized that there was an address and I was sitting right in front of a thrift store. So I went in there and they ended up having a bag in there. So I got it. It doesn't look super promising, so, but it is a large bag, but we'll see. Hi, Mary. Anybody, any questions? Is Patricia in the chat anywhere tonight? I need your address so I can get your winnings. I think it was the perfume mailed out for you. I looked for an email from you and I didn't see one. Bye, Rebecca. I thought you were okay. I see you're still there. Hi, Luminous Life. Thank you. What is your first name? So I'm going to put a challenge out there. Any of you guys that have a channel, or even if you don't, maybe it's a good opportunity to start one. Do a cooking video. Cook something like one of your favorite dishes. Something like anything really, anything like this, or Tammy Roberts, I think, has been doing them, and Joan. There's a couple of people that have been doing cooking videos, just sort of sharing easy dinners and stuff to get together. Hi, and Antoinette. Okay, I'll remember that one. That is my niece's name. The egg whites heat as you're adding in the sugar. They're not heated before you start. I have them at room temp, but you whip them like you would a meringue, and then as you're adding in the hot sugar and water mixture, they heat up then, and it, I guess, pasteurizes them. You beat the egg whites. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, you might not have been here yet, but when it's like making a meringue, like for a meringue cookie or Swiss meringue pie or something like that. Just basically, it's like, or if you've ever done marshmallows, it's kind of the same process. You just start off slowly and build up till you get to high, and you're looking for, with this, really stiff peaks. And once your eggs get to really stiff peaks and your sugar mixture has reached 240 degrees, and then you slowly add it in down the side of the bowl. So, yeah, so basically you are heating them, but you're not heating them before you add the sugar. The sugar basically does that for you. Yes, I've always loved that name. My sister, her daughter is Antoinette, but she had always said since she was a kid she was going to name her first daughter Antoinette, and she did. Yep, whip it real good, San Juana. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that was a really noisy one. The next cooking demo I do won't be so noisy. And I started thinking about that after I told people that I would show them, I would do a video and show them how to do it. I started thinking about how loud it was going to be. Like I said, Jill, you can do it with a hand mixer, but you're going to be there a while. If you have a higher power stand mixer, it will do it much faster. And use that bag of ice to help cool your mixture down after you've added the hot sugar. You want to cool it down as much as you can before you add in the butter. Yes, please. Thank you, Layla. So Miss Layla is joining us from Egypt, everybody. Luminous Life, my first daughter too now. I'm 57. I feel my name. Yes, I mean, I don't know you, but Luminous Life, other than talking to you on here, but I'd say so. It's a sophisticated name for a sophisticated lady. San Juana, you're so sweet. You're always looking out for me. Hi, is that my sister? Are you in here, Sue? Melody is my sister. I mean, we call her Sue. Yes, that is my sister. You just missed the whole demonstration. Now you're going to have to go back and watch it. How is how's Buddy? How are the animals, and how's my baby doing? Has she had any more time with the horses? Melody is Crystal's mom, or Crystal's grandmother, but my sister raises her. Crystal did the videos with me when I was in Kansas. Henri, as always. This is also the sister that does the bowl cozies that I showed the other day. Oh, New Zealand. Why do I keep thinking, oh, you were born and living in New Zealand, Luminous Life. Cool. So we've got people from half around the world here. What time is it in New Zealand and Egypt, Layla? That's nice. My sons cook. Well, neither one of them live at home now, but my sons cook. I taught all of my kids how to cook. My daughter is a really good cook. She's even better than me. What time is it in Egypt? 11:50 and a.m. in spring, going to be hot summer. It's pretty hot in Australia anyways. I've always wanted to visit Australia. I think they have some they have some scary wildlife there, but there's some amazing wildlife in Australia. Yeah, me and my husband don't cook as much anymore either, Layla, since the kids are gone and it's just the two of us. We do on the weekends. Hi, Crystal. How are you, baby doll? I'm going to send you some more jewelry so you can do a video for me. We just got to get you in a good mood before you do it. Big spider. Yep, huge spiders. There's some scary stuff there, but there's also some really cool stuff. You only cook because you need to eat. Yeah, that's kind of it with us. We both do enjoy cooking. It's just when we cook, we're so used to cooking for the family that it's hard to cook for just two people. We end up with a lot of leftover food all the time. So we end up like eating out or soup and sandwiches a lot during the week now, and we pretty much cook mostly just on weekends. Every once in a while, my husband was still cooking like every night. I'd get home from work and he'd be cooking dinner and said, why are you knocking yourself out like that just for the two of us? So he's backed off a little bit, but he still cooks a couple of times a week. He gets home way before I do, so he usually has dinner going when I get home. Yeah, those carbs will do it for sure. I'm not really scared of spiders. I just don't want them crawling on me. Ah, your son's a cake maker too? Awesome. Yeah, and that's good. Even if he doesn't decorate them, if he's just mostly making cakes, then he concentrates on making them taste good, and that's what's important.
Yeah, I always have that intention in mind too. When I make a big pot of soup or something, I intend to freeze it and then you forget, or you freeze it and you find it 6 months later and go, what the heck is this in the bottom of my deep freeze? Oh, you cooked a big, so you'll be having chili forever. Freeze it, Terry. They don't like chili. Yeah, kids can be very picky. As they get older, their taste buds get more sophisticated, so they start eating things you can't get them to eat when they're little. I mean, you're big of a heavy hand. What did I miss? Okay. Thanks for that information, Crystal. Or is that Buddy? That sounds like Buddy. Is that Buddy or Crystal saying that? Yeah, no sugar, no carbs. You will definitely drop the weight. Carbs can keep weight on you for sure. There are some carbs that are better than other carbs, so you don't want to completely eliminate them. You need a little for energy and to help convert sugar, but yeah, you don't want to overdo it with carbs as they do keep weight on you. And of course, my favorite foods are breads and pastas and stuff. So yeah, hard to stay away from the carbs. It's Tuesday. Oh, is it Tuesday in Egypt, Layla? So you're like, at what time did you say it was? I think I missed it. So you're like almost a whole what, 12, 18 hours ahead of us? I'm on the East Coast, so it's later here. It's 4 in, yeah, I'm 3 hours ahead of you, Vicky. I'm 7 o'clock here. Yeah, diabetics need they do need the carbs. That's why peanut butter is really good. I always recommend that our diabetics, instead of carrying like sugar when their blood sugar drops, a lot of people tend to want to carry a candy bar or something. I recommend usually peanut butter crackers. And then if you're diabetic, once you get that sugar up, it's always good to have a normal regular meal after that to stabilize it. Otherwise, you just, especially if you do sugar, you shoot your sugar levels up, but then it crashes again. And if you don't eat something, some real food to level things out, then it'll crash even lower. 7 p.m. in Florida. Yep, we're in the same time zone, Rebecca. Hi, Cozy. Oh, yeah. I think you've probably talked to Rebecca in my chats before. She's usually here. Cool. Yeah, you can reverse, but particularly if you are still able to produce insulin. If you just have people who can't produce insulin at all and are insulin dependent, it's a little bit harder to deal with. But if your body's still producing insulin, just not enough, you can correct it with diet. And particularly if you're if it's like type 2 because of weight and diet, it can be fixed. That actually sounds good, San Juana. Some cornbread with weenies and hot chili. Oh man, that sounds really good right now. Oh yeah, gotta have the sour cream on the chili and the cheddar and throw a few onions in there. I like the raw onions on chili. Is that Crystal talking to me, Sue? Or is that who's making those comments? Is that Crystal or is that you? You're welcome, Aunt Cindy. That must be Crystal. I can't tell. That's what Buddy always calls me when I'm there too. Sometimes is Aunt Cindy. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll be coming over for dinner, San Juana. 5.7 is good, Rebecca. On your A1C, that's really good. Oh, wow. And you got it down to from 12.9. 12.9 is scary. You got it down that far. Yeah, if you'd have stayed on that road, you were definitely on the track to be losing limbs there and eyesight and organ failure and all that good thing. That's miraculous, though. That's a pretty good dip there. It's really good. 127 pounds. Great, Rebecca. Oh, she already hit the yard, huh? Yeah, you can't keep Crystal calm long enough. She can't sit around for more than a couple of minutes. When she would do the videos with me, she would be really in it in the beginning, and then she would like be completely somewhere else. So I'd finally have to say, okay, you can go. Yeah, I can imagine that you would fall asleep because when your sugar's that high, you don't have energy. It's a real lack of energy. You're thirsty all the time. You have to urinate every 2 minutes. Yeah, there's a lot of symptoms, and you get that dizziness too when the sugar drops, and that's actually what took out several people on my father's side. My Uncle Jimmy passed a few years ago from complications from diabetes too. He went into a diabetic coma and nobody found him, and he just didn't wake up. Yeah, definitely 2 circles and a snap. And then some. I'd say in a bag of chips, but we don't want the chips. Yeah, she's got some serious willpower. And when you make up your mind you want to do something like that, and you really stick to it, I mean, you can really change your life. Has your other health problems improved at all since you lost the weight, Rebecca? Yeah, that's the hardest thing in the world, San Juana. Better than food. Well, yeah, a lot of people who smoke stay skinny until they stop. And then, yeah, you put on a tremendous amount of weight. uh, oh, you know what? I just noticed because I'm half blind. Is there an A on the end of your name? Antoinetta, or is it Antoinette? I just noticed that. I don't know if that's a misspelling. Yep, 48 kilograms. That's absolutely thin. Well, good, Layla, because, you have to, if you quit like that and your appetite increases and your food tastes better and all that stuff, then you definitely need to exercise, because if you don't and you're just, eating everything in sight because it tastes better and you're trying to replace that cigarette, you're going to gain weight. You're a scarecrow? Oh, I bet you're not. Let's see, 48 kilograms. That's what, 2.2 times 2.2. So you're around 100 pounds, just over 100 pounds. Okay, so E on the end, but it's not pronounced. Okay, somebody put Antoinetta, so I thought it was must have been a typo. It was an A on the end. Yeah, my niece spells it the same way with the E on the end. Yeah, the CBD, is it a matter of just not having an appetite, Antoinette? Um, as far as putting on weight? Or it's just your metabolism really super fast? I'm sure you've had your thyroid checked to make sure you don't have hyperthyroid, but um, try some CBD oil that will help increase your appetite. There are other like prescription medications too that they give people, particularly like seniors who don't have much of an appetite, that are thin, to get them to eat, that increases your appetite. Nice, Rebecca. Oh, A on the end is Italian. Okay. So do you pronounce the A on the end or is it silent? So you're just naturally thin anyway? Well, you're lucky. Yeah, we don't have thin genes in our family. Both my mom and my father's side all have probably not as much with my generation. I think we have it a little more under control than my aunts and uncles on both sides. Some of them are pretty big boned. Um, yeah, they I think it was just diet back in the day. Those farmers' diets. Those that'll put some weight on you. It made you sleepy, Terry. Try cutting back the dosage. If you're taking the CBD and you're taking other medications, like if you, especially if you're taking any kind of opiates and you take CBD, you almost have to cut back the opiates a little bit because it's going to make you sleepy because it taps the same receptors as opiates do. So it's going to make you a little sleepier. That's why we use it in our clinic. Because I work in a pain management clinic, and we use the CBD oil in there, and it helps a lot of our patients be able to cut back on the amount of pain medications because it taps those same receptors so they can go down a significant amount and still have the same effect and still work as well. But yeah, if you don't cut them back a little bit, it will almost make you sleepy. And there's probably other medications too that are going to have the same effect. But you do get used to that. Just cut back the dose a little bit and work your way up. You have natural CBD and okay. I know it grows in where my sister lives in Kansas. It grows everywhere. They have I didn't see as much of it this last time I was there, but before it grows wild there everywhere in Kansas. They have trouble keeping it under control. Cool. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, when you do that, the hormone supplements, if you just take estrogen, doesn't always work. You have to do the cocktail. You need the progesterone and the testosterone too. All right, how old did you say you were, Terry? Are you menopausal? Because that will definitely you do when those hormones get out of whack when you're going through menopause. That makes you sleepy too. So throw that CBD on top of it. Yeah, CBD is from the pot plant. Yeah, it cuts out. CBD doesn't have the ingredient in pot that gets you high. Legally, CBD can only have up to 4% of THC, the active ingredient that makes you loopy. But it does have all of the other ingredients that have medicinal value to them. Yeah, there could be a lot of money made off of growing it here now that they're starting to regulate it everywhere here in the U.S. Is it legal in Australia, Antoinette? And if you're still there, Layla, is it legal in Egypt? Yeah, the the CBD, if you're going to buy it, I recommend getting the CBD that comes from the flower and the plant as opposed to the stems and seeds. Even the stems aren't as bad, but the CBD that comes from the seed I found is not as good. Our patients could definitely tell the difference. A superfood, yep, it is. I mean, there are a lot of benefits to it. There really are. So for medical, so just CBD. They don't do any other kind of cannabis. Like here in Virginia, we've had CBD for a while, but in July, they took it a step further and legalized for medical purposes beyond just kids and seizures and cancer patients, now for any kind of chronic pain or anything. And they're legalized cannabis oil, and it's similar to the CBD. It just has a higher concentrate of THC in it. It's not full on, but it has a higher concentrate, and it has higher amounts of all the other active ingredient in CBD that helps. But even though they legalized it for medical use in July, it's going to be regulated. They're going to set up like dispensaries, but we're not going to get the dispensaries for another year. So I don't know why why it's taken so long, but I think we're supposed to get 4 dispensaries here in our area. Yeah, there's a battle going on everywhere. They need to just let it go. Just let people do what they want to do with that. If there's some medical benefit to it, people are just sitting around getting high all day and getting lazy. That's, a little different. But, the people that need it medically, just let them have it, because there's so many medical benefits to it. Yeah, I don't know where else here besides California. California is sort of a test case where it's recreational use. I've heard that, the recreational part of it is not the best there, that there's just too many people getting high and getting lazy. Yeah, that's amazing. The medical uses are endless. The more and more I researched it and found out about it, and we went to a seminar in our office before we started giving it to our patients. And the doctor had to get certified in order to give people the card that they need to get it from the dispensary. But some of the seminars that we went to about it the information was just amazing. And it works really well for my son for ADD too. And my sister gives it to her granddaughter, and it helps her with the attention deficit. So, also it mellows you out. It's really good for anxiety. Hi, Terry. Yeah, I think it is in Washington, D.C. How long have you been there, Terry? That's my best friend there, Terry Cronin. She lives here in town with me. It's her son that I make cakes with. Yeah, you got here just in time for me to about ready to wrap it up because I got to make another couple of batches of this and get this cake finished and go to work in the morning. You've been there 5 minutes, and did you say something and I missed it earlier? Colorado's legal for recreation, so we got Washington, Colorado, California. What about Arizona, Vicky? What did you say about that? I know there's something like 13 states or something, I can't remember, where it's legal for recreational purposes. Virginia's really, really slow on everything. Being a Commonwealth state, they kind of move to the beat of their own drum. So we'll probably be one of the last to actually get recreational use, but I don't really care about that. I'm just glad they did it for medical purposes. So Terry Cronin, meet Terry Wilson. Now, yeah, I am a little tired, but not too bad. You know, hi, Rainbow Panda. Um, you know, I always get tired when I'm doing cakes and trying to do everything else at the same time, but that's why I'm backing off the cakes. So that is legal. Is it recreational, Vicky, or just for medical? Well, y'all, I am like I said, got a lot to do, so I am going to go ahead and sign off, and I am so, so happy that all of you joined me. If you have any more questions about the icing, just leave it in the comments, and if there's anything else you want to see me make, any other cooking videos, I could do more. I'm pretty handy in the kitchen, so just leave a comment, and if it's something I do all kinds of desserts and baked goods, but I can also do savory too. So, but I will plan on showing you how to make my chocolate cake, and it won't be this noisy, I promise. So, I am going to sign off. So if you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please hit the thumbs up. It helps me get views. Yeah, chocolate cake, good. So like I said, I wish I could send all of you some of this with your jewelry, but please try it. You know, it's really, as you saw, it's really pretty simple. I know it sounds and looks scary when people tell you how to make it, but if somebody actually shows you, and you know what to look for, just reading it from a recipe, it can be scary when it goes through those stages because you think you messed it up. But now that I've actually showed you that it's supposed to do those things, you should be fine with it. But next time y'all have to make a cake of any kind, try it and let me know what you think. I sure will, Vicky. Yeah, I'm going to finish this so I can get to bed at a decent time tonight. But yeah, I got to go eat too. So I am going to sign off, and I will talk with y'all tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye, sis. Bye, Terry. Bye, Rebecca. Bye. Who else is left? Antoinette. Let's see, Rainbow Panda and Layla. If you all are still there, I will talk with you guys later. I will be on next Saturday or next Sunday, same time, and I'll put up a video during the week. Bye.